Hey, and welcome back to my channel where we're analyzing every single daily spoiler for the upcoming Raging Echoes League. Today is day 8, and let's get right into it. So today, Jagex revealed a brand new relic called Overgrown. This is a farming-specific relic, and so I'm going to talk about that. There were also a few clarifications provided on Discord, so I'm going to go over those. I want to compare and contrast Overgrown to Farmer's Fortune, which was the farming relic that we saw last league. I'm going to give you my in-depth analysis about this relic and why I think it's good and what the key values are. And lastly, we're going to take a guess at what tier this relic is and which one to pick at this tier, because Jagex in their spoiler revealed that this also goes in line with Grimoire. So Overgrown, this relic will give you an item called Leprechaun's Vault. Like any other relic that's going to give you an item, you need to open this in a bank. Once you get the Leprechaun's Vault, you'll be able to access the Seed Vault from everywhere. So those of you who are familiar with the Seed Vault, it pretty much allows you to store all your seeds and your saplings, which is really nice. In addition to that, all the crops that you ever plant will never die, so you never have to worry about boosting them. That said, whenever planting a seed, there's a 75% chance that it's not consumed, which is really good. This is about a 4x multiplier on like each seed will get you 4 times plants overall. And when a seed fully grows, if you have the same exact seed in your seed vault, it will auto replant that seed in that patch for you. And this is for every single patch across the entire game, regardless of where you are, which is awesome. Right? And like every item, you can always get the item back from the Sage if you lose it. So there are a few Discord clarifications. Farming contracts have no tie-ins, and what this pretty much means is if you have a farming contract and you plant the seed, if you have the same exact seed in your vault, just make sure you don't have that seed so you can keep that patch empty, so that way you can go back and replant it. This is a little bit complicated, so just keep in mind that in the farming contracts, just make sure that you're controlling your seeds in your vault. Either keep them in your inventory or your bank. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. It is a little bit of a micromanagement thing, but it is going to work just fine. In addition to that, this automatically adds Ultra Compost for you, which is really nice. What we saw in the last league that the farming relic was giving you 3x the loot and the herbs. And this time you're just going to get Ultra Compost built in for you, but then you get to re-auto plant over time, so it's very valuable. Offline farming doesn't work, so the way farming works is the time still progresses in the game, but what this means is it won't auto plant for you even while you're logged out. It'll only auto plant for you when you're online. So you log back in, the timer for the plant has already progressed, and so as soon as you log in, it should just immediately plant and replant. This can be as simple as, getting your phone and just kind of logging into the game and then logging back out. You don't have to go to your computer and play there. You should be able to just do that when you're away from the computer to kind of maximize this relic. So Overgrown versus Farmer's Fortune. Which one is better? Which one is worse? Here we go. So both of them never disease, never die. I'm kind of curious as to why Jagex keeps mixing up the word choices here. Again, not a big deal. Your plants will never die. Simple as that. Now, in Farmer's Fortune, you had a 20% chance to save your plants. So that comes out to 1.25 times the plants you get per seed, which is pretty good. This time around, we actually get 4x plants. Now, I know what you're thinking, oh my God, 4 times versus 1.25 times. That's a big difference, right? Well, kind of, because in Farmer's Fortune, we used to get triple the yields from the same thing. So that means it's like just one farming action, you're going to get 3 times as much value out of it. In addition to that, it was also 25 times faster. And so you were pretty much insta-planting your seeds and just growing things immediately, which is really, really nice. And I'm kind of missing that in Overgrown. I feel like the time difference was huge. Obviously, this is, in different use case in Overgrown, because in Overgrown you never have to go back and do your planting again. As long as you have the same seed, you will just keep auto replanting. So what I see here is the moment you got Farmer's Fortune, you were just going to go plant until you hit 99 farming and get all your herbs and everything stacked up so you could, process them and make potions or whatever later. The way I see Farmer's Fortune is it's still going to progress as you would in the normal RuneScape game where you normally do your farm runs. It's just you won't have to do them. The game will kind of auto do them for you. And so you'll still need time to kind of get there. And we see this kind of as a theme from Golden God as well, where it's not like giving you an instant amount of money that we saw in Fire Sale where it was just everything was free. Instead, you're going to be alching things over time. So I think Jagex is really trying to increase the longevity of the league by giving you these relics that kind of take a long period of time to kind of get all the materials. That said, this is still going to be really fast. Remember, we have crazy experience multipliers, drop rates, and killing things will be so much faster because you'll have all the relics and the combat masteries. And so overall, the game is much faster. But this relic and Golden God kind of hint at like a slower kind of gameplay instead of like an instant burst of power. So in addition to that, I think what's really nice with Overgrown is you're going to want to do a one-time farm setup for every kind of area you unlock. Now, depending on what regions you get, you're going to have different access to different patches. I'm going to leave a link in the description below that gives you a really good guide into all the regions and all the farming things. It's just too many to kind of put on this slide here. So just keep that in mind. So every time you unlock a new region, and if you have a seed that you want to plant in that farming patch, just go and plant it, and then make sure you have duplicates of that seed in your vault that you'll auto keep planting it. What I see is you would want to set up like kind of one seed per patch in different areas. And the reason being is you want to kind of keep replanting them. So if you have like 20 Irit seeds and you plant them everywhere, that means when all of your patches complete, they will all instantly pop and you'll kind of run out of your Irit seeds really, really fast, right? Most monsters drop a variety of seeds. And so it's more beneficial overall to kind of plant a different seed in each area. Now, obviously, that depends on your seed sourcing, right? Some seeds, like Irit seeds, are much more convenient and easier to get. Some seeds, like Snapdragons and Renars, they're a little bit more rare. And so you just want to kind of keep in mind, like, hey, I'm getting a lot of Irits. I'm going to plant 2 patches with Irits because that's going to help my farming, but I'll just do 1 for Renars, for example. Right. We haven't seen also a thieving relic, so we don't know how we're going to be able to get seeds from master farmers or whatnot. But just keep that in mind as to how many seeds you get. You want to do that, right? If you have access to, a lot of watermelon seeds, you can plant a lot of watermelon. But remember, you don't need super compost or ultra compost, and so there's maybe no need to plant those. So if you can source, snake grass seeds really well, you can plant those, things like that, right? Overall, if you can keep these plants going, you'll just kind of keep getting a lot of passive experience, and whatever the experience goal is at the end of the league, the 25 mil or 50 mil, you'll definitely hit that over time, no problem, right? Just make sure you have your seeds planted and stacked in your vault. Now, region considerations. So in the starter regions of Mistal and Karamja, we're going to have Varrock and Lumbri tree planting spots. In Fossil Island, we'll have seaweed and hardwoods. And in Karamja, we'll have a fruit tree and Kalkwat. There are no herb spots in here, and so your region choices will dictate which ones you get. Now, funny enough, Kandrin does have a lot of farming spots. If you've been watching my last few videos, I'll have a link to the playlist below. But in there, you'll notice that there's been a lot of things taken out of Kandrin based off of the relics and just the game overall. And so it's kind of funny that Kandrin actually benefits the most from this patch, from this relic. And so just keep that in mind. If you are choosing to go Kandrin for a utility region, you are going to get a really good buff here. And in addition to that, Zea's an interesting one because you're going to have the Farming Guild and Hosidius. So a lot of good planting locations there, kind of one of everything. And so overall for farming, if you have Zea, this will be really, really nice. But again, I'm going to keep the link to this entire page below. So one last teaser that Jagex, didn't call out specifically, but was shown in the video, is that they put Overgrown right next to Grimoire, right? So now we know for a fact that there's going to be 3 relics in this tier, and you're going to have to choose between this Farming Relic and the Grimoire Relic, right? And so we saw this in the past where Farmer's Fortune was, put up against Ruinous Powers, which was that prayer power boosting PVM relic. And so we're seeing that same kind of pattern here. So that's why I'm thinking this is going to be a tier 6 relic, because these were tier 6 relics in Trailblazer Reloaded. The last relic that's missing, I'm thinking it's Equilibrium. That was the 3rd relic that we saw in Trailblazer. It's been a kind of a staple relic to get for people who want to max and want to get a lot of experience across all of their skills. And so there's a chance that it might be Equilibrium and it might not, right? So I think the number one question here is, what are you going to pick, right? And Grimoire is PVM power. You get access to all of your prayers right away. You get access to skilling with the farming relic, with the farming, and then the herb lore as well. And so it's really based off of your choice. The farming is a great AFK tool. So if you're like, hey, I don't really play RuneScape for a lot of, active content. There are different player types, right? We have people who just are skillers and we have people who are PVMers, right? And so if you're a skiller, Overgrown is probably the choice for you. Now that said, we don't know what that last unknown relic is, so just hold off on making and jumping to conclusions just yet. It might be Equilibrium, it might be another twist, right? We don't know. But that said, I think this is really going to create two factions in the game. Now, Zaya is in this weird spot because when you unlock Zaya, you get access to the Arceus Spellbook. You also get access to Augury and Rigor in Cox. And so, you know, you can get kind of both things from those. And so if you're going to go Zaya, maybe you wait for that third relic, and maybe that third relic is actually the choice for you, right? We talked about Overgrown has access to the Farming Guild and the Hosidius patches. And so both of these are kind of rounded out by your regions. So I think really this relic and actually this entire tier is overall really dictated by your region. And so let me know in the comments below what region you're going and what relic you're going to pick, or are you really going to wait for that last relic to be revealed? Again, thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, smash the like button. If you want to stay up to date with all of my analysis, definitely hit the subscribe button. Like I said, I'm going to be posting these analysis videos daily. And yeah, any other ideas or comments you have, definitely leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.